ChatGPT in its early form really blew the doors off of what people thought was possible. And it can be fun and helpful to use almost right out of the gate. And that's why this has really kicked off. We've seen proof that these tools can really be world changers and drivers of industry. When companies think about their data, especially when thinking about applying modern solutions like generative AI, it's important to see that data as your superpower. The data you've collected on your users, your process, your tools, your history, it is all of the inputs that can feed into really powerful and specialized modern tools like machine learning and generative AI. However, because many companies have been collecting data before AI and ML were major players in the field, there are different considerations that need to be made about the sort of data you collect and how you store it. Now that modern database solutions and Gen AI tools can understand and process a volume of data that wasn't possible even 5 to 10 years ago, we now recommend in most cases that organizations should be working to figure out long-term strategies to be both collecting as much data as they can in a specified and thoughtful way, and as well as looking back into their history and their archives and seeing if they can extract data that they thought was too large, too complex, too unstructured to be useful in the old school context, and bringing that out so we can deploy it and let the modern tools do what they're great at, which is bringing data insights that wouldn't be possible without the tools like ML and generative AI. Every executive and tech lead really started getting excited. Their eyes really lit up when they saw just how powerful these tools could be. At the same time, as a data professional, it can be really painful for me to sometimes see what I would call rushed Gen AI. And these rushed Gen AI tools are chatbots or AI programs that are designed to help get all of those advantages and awesome features that we saw in some of the successful Gen AI tools, but they just fall flat. So we've had unfortunate stories in the news about AI being deployed to help serve targeted advertising or to write news stories or to help customers as chatbots, where they've simply fallen too short or not considered the security risks of smart users figuring out how to get around their prompts to try to protect them from letting your AI run wild and maybe say something that it shouldn't while your company logo is present on the app. So this is the sort of thing that we talk to our clients about to understand the posture of what's needed. So when we think about the trends, we've seen smart customers understanding that they want to deploy Gen AI and understanding the capabilities. Understand at the same time that there's a lot of considerations to how do I get the best AI tool? How am I securing that tool and making sure that I'm presenting my organization in the best way? And then how am I building this over time to scale reasonably as we need, to work the first day that we deploy it, and to really make sure that Gen AI is the correct tool for us. I think with common sense, strongly managed and controlled roadmaps, you can safely, securely, and efficiently build a Gen AI tool that's going to be perfect for your needs. But we oftentimes tell our customers that it can be a time to step back and make sure you're carefully testing these tools before you deploy them live, just to make sure that we have the best results possible. When it's time for customers to consider whether or not they're ready for Gen AI, there are a lot of tools you can use right out of the bat to quickly understand your readiness for AI and the steps you need to take to deploy. AWS, Amazon Web Services, has the AWS Bedrock tool, which has a variety of playgrounds where you can jump in day one and test out how a variety of different large language models perform with sort of tasks that you're interested in. So depending on your use case, you can, in a matter of half an hour, be testing a light version of what the final deployment might look like. And that can really help speed up the iterative process of testing, trialing, and learning about your tools. Once you're ready to deploy and you understand the proper feature set and language model that you might want to use for your use case, you can use both Amazon Bedrock again to deploy some resources, including in a serverless capacity, which can help you be cost efficient and scalable as you build, or SageMaker Jumpstart, which is a great set of developer tools and automated pipelines for deploying, iterating, improving, and then finally serving these generative AI models to whoever your user base is, whether it's customer facing, internal based towards your employees and executives, or a fully automated behind the scenes or under the hood option where you're using Gen AI in an analytics capacity to help understand your programs. When I think about the common misconceptions in the generative AI space, I think it's important to understand that these tools are no longer unachievable for organizations. We talk about being rational and sometimes cautious vendor when we think about the way that we can deploy Gen AI for your organization, because we want to be as successful as possible. But with tools like Amazon Bedrock and SageMaker Jumpstart, you can really start testing and deploying a true LLM in a matter of days so that you can show your stakeholders, your shareholders, and your organization that this is a feature that's accessible to you and ready to go. Once you can do that proof of concept, there's a variety of extra steps we can take to make sure it's ready to go live. But the fact that Gen AI is not just a tool for the geniuses who are building companies in their garage, it's a tool for everyday organizations who have been collecting data and being thoughtful about the sort of products they want to improve and offer to their customers. Gen AI really is here. It's here to stay, and it's ready to go for users. The other misconception from a technical perspective, when I think about generative AI and our understanding, is how large language models work and how they don't. There's a variety of viral posts and stories online about different words or things that Gen AI can say. ChatGPT, for example, there's all these stories about how incredible it is and how it might be smarter than humans, how it's passing the bar or the medical exams. At the same time, there are stories from generative AI critics who challenge how smart these tools are and work to highlight how they can trick these large language models into giving incorrect answers. I would say in most cases, both of these categories of content and stories are overblown. Generative AI remains a fantastic tool. At the end of the day, generative AI is simply some of the most advanced mathematical modeling that our human society has ever deployed. It's truly an incredible process. But at the end of the day, it's still a mathematical function. The idea that a large language model is in some way learning and understanding in a way that we can think about is probably a misconception. I think the very first challenge that organizations face is understanding whether they truly are looking for a generative AI tool. There are a lot of great ideas that companies have, and they're not always sure the best way to deploy them. Sometimes, even when a customer comes to us and is looking to deploy a generative AI tool, we might understand through speaking to them that we can deploy a better, simpler, and more cost-efficient solution that works just as well, if not better, than the current generative AI tools. Another challenge that I think about in the form of customers looking to switch to generative AI is understanding that there are a variety of tools that focus on different categories of features and functionalities. So there are some tools that are better built for text, specifically large text. There are other models that are built for smaller text bases. And then the final piece is media when we think about the different ways where Gen AI works. If you are looking for image or video creation, you're looking at a fully different set of tools in a lot of cases than you are with others. I think that can be a challenge because there are so many new tools that are always changing and updating. It can be a little bit hard to grasp exactly how to understand which one to pick. One more challenge that I'd like to discuss is in the terms of pricing. It can be really challenging to price out a correct estimate of how much an in-production AI tool might cost your organization. And when you're trying to determine your ROI for a big step forward like this, it can be hard to measure. Red Oak Strategic will go through a whole process of marking out, mapping out, and itemizing the costs and prices that we estimate at each step of a deployment. But there's a lot of cost considerations to be made. So we'll work together to understand what your needs are, how much your data volume and usage might grow, and whether or not you want to use basically a stable database of servers or whether you want to work towards a serverless solution. Once you understand that you're ready for AI, that you've done the learning to understand how it works, we do need to go through the process of modernizing your data systems to make sure that we can continue to deploy these generative AI tools. So data collection mechanisms that are manual, that are very human-driven and physical, day-to-day, writing down or manually inputting data into a spreadsheet can be really far away from Gen AI. Companies might want to look for automation tools or processes or data pipelines that can help them build recurring, retraining, and always improving models. And that's really important. Red Oak Strategic has a long history of deploying automated analytics, machine learning, and generative AI for our customers. We have some really exciting case studies and examples where customers have really built awesome tech that improves the world and their organization through the use of ML and generative AI. One such use case is Epidaurus Health, which is a modern solution to some of the broken components of our healthcare system in the United States, most specifically helping doctors patients and providers at pharmacies better understand, attach, and link customer data throughout the whole process so that we can speed up prior authorizations and improve medical decision making by helping doctors and pharmacists more quickly use generative AI tools to understand the risks that mixing specific medicines can have and helping customers get better approval and safer medicine along the way. I think that I've seen a real shift in organizations as they move down the Gen AI roadmap towards better understanding the long-term use of their data to make a profit and to earn more revenue. I see a real culture shift towards making sure that we're thinking about what we're doing and what data we can collect. This helps in the Gen AI space, and it also helps across your organization, making better data-driven decision-making at all levels and better understanding the work that you do and how we can make changes. I think generative AI is one of the best things you could deploy as an organization to show that you are ready for anything that you have to come and that the future is bright ahead.